if the need, want, and desire is there strong enough to move, but to get to the outcome, the person will figure every thing out. That's it. But a lot of salespeople, don't know how to get to that level of need, want, and desire, which means then that they're just lose deals out the door and businesses can't be built. That's the problem. I keep it very, very simple. There's three facets that I look at: your problem, my solution, your decision. That's it. That's what sales is. Yeah, sales is all about figuring out what the problem is, figuring out can you solve the problem, and figuring out can you help the person solve the problem. Yeah. Getting them, getting them over, getting them into your training, coaching, development, whatever it may be, selling my house or car, it don't matter. Solve the problem, figure it out.
I want to jump straight in. A lot of business owners, one of their number one struggles is actually getting a sale. Like it's business 101. You can't make money unless you can learn to sell something, but it seems like so many business owners have a hard time asking for the sale in general. How did you find this niche of really helping, entrepreneurs and business owners really like learn how to close and overcome objections?
To be honest with you, I kind of fell into sales like most people fall into most things that they just end up being good at. I fell into sales in COVID. I had a fitness business here in London, and the great big C word came in and kicked their ass in 2020. Yeah. And I had a big deal 6 weeks later, and a friend of mine who said to me, I have all of this overhead, all of these gyms, all of these problems. I need money. Can you help me sell some stuff online? I did. Long story short, in the first week, I sold more selling. I made more selling fitness than I was doing fitness. Wow. Penny drop. To my ex-partner at the time, I said, I think we're doing it right, but we're just not in the right vehicle. And from there, it just took off. 2021, I started full time. By March 2021, I was running the top account at the time that we were working with, called Seventh Level, which now is a business, a sales training company. I think they do, just under 3 or 4 million a month. And I was the top guy there for 18 months. And then, things kind of fell apart. And then, built the ejection box in May 2022. And here we are today. Mental, Stephen, absolute mental 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. And it's funny to me. It seems like a lot of times when things feel like they're actually falling apart, they really are coming together. Like you really find your niche. I was telling my my middle son, Justin, a long time ago, who loves sales, loves business, wants to be an entrepreneur. I was telling him when he was first graduated high school, he was like, I don't really know what I want to do. And I said, dude, just go knock something over. Like literally go do something. And that's doing that in a compound in your favor. Eventually you're going to find your way to the thing you're ultimately, I believe, called to do, Well, I'm curious to know, what is kind of like your specific approach to sales? Is it more of a sales-based approach, or is it more of a service-based that turns into a sell approach?
I try and keep it very, very simple there. I try and give it the KISS method, which is keep it simple, stupid. I come from Ireland. I don't come from a place where we're highly educated. And I say that with a pinch of salt, because we are beautiful people, and, we're world renowned. But anyway, Sylvie, I come from a small town in Ireland with 10,000 people, where your body is your vehicle to making money. Mm-hmm. So I never used my brain until I was about 25 years of age. Once I understood the ideas and the formulations that I could put together with my brain, the words became my oyster. So again, coming back to sales, I keep it very, very simple. There's three facets that I look at, and that is your problem, my solution, your decision. That's it. That's what sales is. Yeah, sales is all about figuring out what the problem is, figuring out can you solve the problem, and figuring out can you help the person solve the problem. We're getting them over, getting them into your training, coaching, development, whatever it may be, selling my house, a car, electricity, sunroofs. It don't matter. Solve the problem, figure it out, move on.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, no, I think that's, again, I actually think that a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, sales managers and team miss that concept. Yeah. That you be to solve a problem. So unless you can get super defined and super clear on what the problem is for that client, it'll be impossible to give them or sell them anything. I'm a big believer in doing a lot of data mining with a client. Like you meet them for the first time, they've already have shown interest in kind of what you're working on, what you're working with, because they've already self-identified lead, if you will, that they have a problem that you can formulate. At the same time, it seems to me that the objections that come up during the process of a sales approach often has to do more with not spending enough time really defining at the heart level, if you will, the internal level, what that problem they're really facing is. A lot of times I think we're looking at our external circumstances and trying to sell to an external thing rather than actual solving what's inside their head and their heart.
Correct. It's all about digging underneath it. There's only ever truly 5 objections, Stephen. Think about it, part of money for logistics. Once you understand that and help to funnel that down in terms of the structures that we built and scale and grow and help all the people with, that's the most important. But I always tell people, like, if you're constantly, in a position where you're getting objections after objections after objections, you haven't done your job. Because I would say to you, Stephen, right now, how many kids do you have?
If you add them all together with all the different people, we have 7.
All the different people, all the Brady Bunch. So 7 kids.
Yeah, I'm very blessed that I've fortunately have been able to be fathers to some children that weren't mine biologically, but mine as a soul.
Absolutely amazing. So 7 great kids, right? Who's your favorite? And I'm going to say that.
Oh man, I don't know if I have a favorite, man. You can't put me on the spot like that. You know the kids watch this show. Come on now.
Yeah. So I would say this to you, right? And this is the problem that people don't understand when it comes to sales. Let's say, for argument's sake, your son is a great basketball player or a great football player. I actually like football, so let's go football. And, he's getting offers from D1 colleges and all of this great stuff. He runs out to the field and he breaks his ankle.
Yeah.
And the doctor says to you, in order for this kid to go D1 and potentially go to the NFL, he needs to get this operation. If he doesn't get this operation, at best, he can be a D2, D3 player. That's it. Mm-hmm. Now, I bet you for £1,000 right here, right now, you would find a way to get your son the operation needed, wanted, and desired to get him to the dreams and aspirations that he has for his life.
Yep.
What I meant by all of that is if the need, want, and desire is there strong enough to move, but to get to the outcome, the person will figure every fucking thing out. That's it. So a lot of salespeople, don't know how to get to that level of need, want, and desire, which means then that they're just losing deals out the door and businesses can't be built. That's the problem.
So how do you? So let's do it. Because I know your system works, right? I know you've been helping a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, and obviously growing your own business in this capacity. Let's take we'll call it a relatively seasoned salesperson. Let's say they've been in sales 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? Probably bounced around a couple different niches, selling different things, but selling. I mean, they like the idea of being able to basically eat what they hunt, right?
Yeah.
They like that. They're not a paycheck to paycheck kind of like salary person where it's like they just want comfortability. They want to be able to basically grow, if you will, and be able to dictate their own level of income. Okay. So this salesperson has been in the business, call it 2 years, had moderate success. What are the first 3 things you're going to work with them on to basically 10x their success?
Well, there's 3. I actually work off trees, not the trees that are outside my beautiful garden, but 3 in 1, 2, 3. So firstly, it has to be the skill set, which is, the be all. If you can't put the ball in the net, you're wasting your time. I don't care who you are. I don't care how you live your life. I don't care what you do. I don't care how often you get up at 4 a.m. I don't care how many times you walk on the grass with no shoes on. I don't care. If you cannot put the ball in the back of the net, you are redundant in an offer and you're wasting everybody's time. So that's the first thing they got to do. They got to build out the skill sets. The second thing that they got to do is they got to do the internal work. See, a lot of great entrepreneurs, business owners, salespeople, they're fundamentally broken inside. And how I know is because I am. Yeah, I'm very honest, very transparent, very upfront. So what I mean by that is you have to have the 3 C's that I call it, which is confidence, certainty, and conviction, which is what we're going to work on internally, because it's all well and good having the skill sets. But if you don't walk with confidence, if you don't believe what's happening, if you don't carry yourself with conviction, it's all a waste of time anyway.
Yeah.
Third aspect then is actually getting them off their fucking arsehole and going to work and putting in labor. There's no substitute for labor. So those are the 3 concepts that I go through: skill sets, internal work, and then it's the labor. You put all of it together, you achieve your life.
Do you find that conviction will ultimately build confidence? Like I found at least when early days when I was building businesses and even, selling to clients on a regular basis, I felt like that if I could get the certainty behind what it is I was offering and then just had the drive to go do it, that I was starting to have win after win after win, which then built my confidence. Do you find that conviction builds confidence?
The three C's fundamentally spin around each other, because if they don't all tie in together, it's all a waste of time. You have to have confidence in your skill set. You have to have, certainty in what you want to give the offer. If you have confidence in your skill set, which means you're slamming deals and you're helping a ton of people, if you have confidence in what you're selling is actually going to help those people, you cannot work off anything other than pure and under conviction.
Yeah.
That's the key. But the three of them spin around each other. If one falls out, the link all breaks.
Well, on that same token, if I've also come up this perception that we're whole people, right? So I think a lot of us try to compartmentalize that we're one way at work, we're one way at home, we're one way hanging out with our friends, we're one way building our dream. Yeah. And it seems to me that it doesn't matter what you're focused on and what you're kind of building or over time, that your wholeness bleeds into other areas. So if you're having a really hard time in your family world and you show up to try to, make a sell or try to offer a service to somebody, your confidence can be shaken, right? Or let's say you've been on a downward trend. Maybe you were killing it for 3 years or 4 years. It's like bam, bam, bam. Almost everybody's saying yes, right? And then all of a sudden you go into a 2 or 3 month downward slump, right? How do you an individual to become a peak performer again when they've gone through either life circumstances that are affecting them, or maybe they just had a bad run of, leads or something? Does that make sense?
It does. Makes perfect sense. And I would tell you this, it's, have you ever heard of millionaires make it and then lose it and then make it again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it is. It's muscle memory. It's the same thing with a great salesperson. It's the great thing with anybody. If you do it once, you already know if you like to do it again. And a big thing about it is, nobody taught in this world that you could break a 6-minute mile until it was done. Now they're just, they do it for breakfast. That's what I'm saying to you. So sometimes it's more internally about the belief system that you have, but also it's about going back to, knowing what works. And lots of salespeople solely focus on the negatives. Why didn't I make this sale? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
And, I'm a big believer in what you surround yourself with is what you ultimately will become.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly in the negatives and you're not positively reinforcing the positives, meaning the sales, the helping, what I said here, what conviction I left with this, how I actually framed this, how strong I felt in this moment, then you're just going to be all negative. So there's a great concept that I like to say. It's about positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
When you're good, stay good. Just keep going back to the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what
makes perfect sense. I think the other thing that I was kind of thinking about a little bit is when someone sets out to develop themselves, they develop the circle of influence that they've got surrounding themselves. But, I also feel like there's an element of like almost doing, for lack of a better word, meditative practice, all kinds of stuff on a daily, constantly encourage your mind, grow your spirit. Like, so when you do hit an area where you have a little more resilience, it comes to pass a whole lot quicker. Do you happen to have your own kind of like routine that you kind of walk through to kind of stay at peak performance levels?
Do you know what? I'm in a season of down. Stephen, I won't ever like people. I'm in a season of down. I come out of a really difficult relationship of 9 years. So I'm in a year of negative. And what keeps me somewhat, and I'll tell you, like the negative is I doubled the business in the 12 months, but also everything else. So I'm constantly, trying to rebuild the life. But what keeps me on the straight and narrow is my physical appearance. It's my mental. So I'm constantly physically training twice a day. I'm always reading, I'm always learning, I'm always developing, and that carries into the business, I always tell people can't leave everything fall to shit. If you leave everything fall to shit, then you've nothing to hold on. There's nothing to kind of, lean on that will pull the rest of it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's me.
And I feel like a lot of us sleepwalk. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that I'll tell you this. So I went to a Patrick Bet, I don't know, a few weeks back, and Patrick Bet David was talking, about how you scale a 9-figure business and how he's building a valuetainment and the media empire he's kind of creating, kind of his vision for the next 20-year run and all this kind of stuff. And he got into the sales area, and he said he had this interesting epiphany. All of his guys that had been there for quite some time had gotten super complacent. They were making money on deals they'd already done, just repetitive money, repetitive money. And they got complacent. Meanwhile, he would hire new salespeople and they would come in and kick butt, right? They're hungry, they're new, they don't have this client roster to kind of go back on. And then Patrick made a decision to actually change the commission structure for the guys that had been there a long time to incentivize them to go out and kill some new stuff. So basically you got more money for a new deal than you did for a reoccurring deal.
Right.
Do you look at how do you look at that concept as far as salespeople compensation? Because I think it makes a lot of sense.
It also makes perfect sense. I'm not bullish on getting paid massively on what we did yesterday. My philosophy is 0, 0, 0. And you're going to say, what is that? And I tell one of my guys, every day it starts at 0. I don't care what you did. I don't care what you made yesterday. I don't care what you did last month. Every single day goes to 0. And your job is to put the number on the board. And I always tell people this. If you really want to dive deeper into it, Steve, and I would get all of my guys and I would say to them, how much does your life have to make every single day to keep the wheel spinning? And some were like, what do you mean? Well, I'm like, well, how much do you spend a month? Divide that by 30. Every day you've got to at least make that in commissions to keep your life moving forward. Now, how hard you going to work?
Yeah.
It's about validation, but it's about seeing the numbers, because the numbers won't lie. People lie and people can, miss things, and we can tell each other. More importantly, we can tell ourselves we're on the right path, but the number won't, hold it. So I do have to.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And it's because, I was just remembering again back to this Patrick David event. He basically created a very robust dashboard on sales, leads, closes, conversions, all this kind of stuff. And he basically, when he does his sales meetings and production meetings, if you will, he shares the numbers globally with everybody. So and some business owners would say, well, I don't know if I want to do something like that because then I might make somebody feel bad. But lo and behold, with this approach, Patrick's had double, triple, quadrupled his sales because everybody is trying to be top dog.
Right. Well, the best salespeople, are always willing to lean on that. If you're a fucking top salesperson, it's like when I played sport. Let's say you had a really bad half. Your coach comes in and blows the fucking door off the wall. And he says, Bill, you let us down. You did this, you did that, you did the other thing. If you do that again on the next half, we're never going to play again. Bet your bottom dollar, I'm going to put in a performance like that.
Yeah.
You bet $1, I'm going to go out and smash my head into somebody, and I'm going to make a tackle or I'm going to make a play or whatever it may be that you guys say over there. So I think, honestly, competitive spaces are only going to breed the best. Why? Because the best want to compete at the top level with other top players. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
Sales is that rootless space. It's the only rootless space that I have seen outside of professional sport that has given me the incentive and the drive to keep moving, because there's no wait for it. You can't keep in because you once.
Yeah, man.
Keep.
It's funny. It's. I was thinking about salespeople and just how they deal with sales leaders and sales managers, and a lot of times they're better at trying to sell their objection and why they fail than they are about overcoming the objections that's preventing them from making the sale. You know what I'm saying? I want to maybe hear from your feedback when it comes down to overcoming objections specifically, right? Because that is, at the end of the day, if you're in the sales game, you're having to look at objections on a regular basis. Period.
Yeah.
And some are soft, some are hard, some are real, some are not. But read the room, read the play, if you will. How do you do it without coming across push salesy where it's more natural?
How do you create pressure without creating too much pressure is the question. It is fundamentally built in a sense of, I don't know, what car do you drive, Stephen? What car do you drive?
Either a Land Rover or a C8 Corvette.
Okay, well, how fast does the Corvette go?
0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds, because I'm small.
There's no way they can. How do you know that?
I'm sorry?
How do you know it goes that fast in 2 seconds?
Tested it.
Yes.
It launched me back in the seat like this.
Yeah. It stuck your forehead to the bump and back to the chair.
I'm short now because of it, so go figure.
And that's the beauty of it. And that's what I tell people all the time. You don't know how far the line is until you push it all the way. And you're going to get burnt. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to piss people off. You're going to I tell people at the end of the call, oh my gosh, there's four things. Yes, no, fuck you, hang up. That's what's happening at the end of the call. You're either going to say yes, you're either going to say no, you're either going to tell me to go fuck myself, or you're going to hang up, point blank. That's the end of the call. That's it. No, there's no bullshit. That's it. And to get people into that concept of do or die and, leave it all on the line, as per se, it's hard because most people don't have the confidence to be in the negativity and be in a place where, you're not friends with people and you're there to help people and you're not there to sugarcoat shit. So that comes back to that internal work, believing that you're enough, believing that you're strong enough, believing that there's enough lead in your pencil, just believing in yourself enough to go there. So that's what I say to people. Like, how do you find out if you don't go? Well, you got to go. That's how I ask you about your cards. I use a lot of analogies and a lot of visual kind of ideas and ideation of things. But that's a really, really big one because in order to get people to know how far it goes, you got to push it all the way. And then you know, like if I say this and do that and do that, this is what's going to be. So now I can pull back. And the first 12 months is going to be bumpy because you're finding your way. You're finding what works, what doesn't work, how to preempt things, how to use fillers, how to, softly punch somebody without just calling them an asshole. Like, how do you move people without them feeling, the negative, the internal pressures, the need to fight or flight? How do you move them till you actually go? So you are going to have to go through a couple of calls.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. Steven Scoggins here. I've got something that I think is actually going to blow your mind. Imagine taking your life and your business to the whole another level. I'm talking about an 8-figure level and beyond. You see, you've been working your butt off to build your business to where it is now. But what if you could work smarter, free up more time, make more money and impact along the way? How much would that be worth to you? You see, I can prove that basic steps, basic mindset shifts, and subtle changes can make the biggest difference. I want to introduce you to the 8-figure mindset makeover. It's absolutely free and it's here for you. It's a powerful summary of my top strategies that help propel me from the streets, if you will, to upwards of 9 figures and quote unquote success as we like to chase it. This is more than just tips though. It's a complete mindset overhaul with simple hacks that you can apply today to begin working on your unprecedented heights in your own business. I would like the honor to share these types of things with you that turn my dreams into reality so you can experience the same type of joy and freedom that I now get to live out in my own day. In other words, it's time for you to build your own unstoppable enterprise. And if you're really ready to take it to the next level and elevate your life and your business, this is an absolute game changer for you. So if you want to take advantage of this free resource, simply go to the show notes and click the link, or you can go to stevenscoggins.com/8-figure. That's stevenscoggins.com/8-figure. Until then, much love. God bless. Let's get back to the show. Take care. Thinking too that, early days, when I was doing my own sales, I used to fear the rejection. Ironically, we were joking a little bit before we popped on here, and I told you I now live in Utah, which is it's a huge Mormon population. Okay, so what most people don't fully appreciate and understand about the Mormon population is they all go on 2-year sabbaticals or 2-year missions, as they call them. And they go all over the world, and all they do is constantly knock on doors and get yeses and nos constantly. Ironically, Utah has one of the highest rated states for network marketing in the country.
Imagine.
As it's full of people who are okay with rejection and okay going through the process of hearing a no. Why do we take no's so personally before we actually learn a better way? What is it about the human DNA that makes a no so painful?
I'll go back and I'll tell you another key aspect of what you just said. Where did you say that place is?
I'm sorry?
What's the state?
Utah.
Utah. I wanted you to say it again. So the first thing is they get rejected. They're on a 2-year, just get the door slammed in their face 25 times, literally every 4 hours, every day for 2 years straight. They don't even probably take a weekend off. So that's the first thing. Putting in a tremendous amount of reps. The second thing is that they truly believe in what? They believe in themselves.
What they believe and what they're selling, so to speak.
Guided by something that they are aligned with, which is a higher faith. And that may be, you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, you're a Mormon, you're this or that. I don't really mind. That's your own business. Which fundamentally means you now are the full-on killer. Why? Because you believe in something that fills you up inside, that it doesn't matter what you say to me because I know that I can go and I can, sit and I can pray and I can get back and fill up my cup. And the second thing, I've heard exactly what you've said thousands of times. The word no is not going to insult me. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I think we live right now, Stephen, in a broken society. In 2024, leading into 2025, the shit that's going on in the US, the shit that's going on in the Middle East, shit that is going on in every country. I think COVID and the shit that came out of that amplified it 150% onwards. I think we live in a world where everything is broken and there's no strength in anything anymore. Look at our leaders, they're weak. Look at our, local governments, they're weak. Everything is dirty. The lack of standard is completely broken. People's health is completely broken. When we have more information, more knowledge, more trainings, more supplements, more everything, why are we settling? I think a lot of us have grown up settling and staying away from things that want to push us,
Yeah.
So I think we're being diluted as a society, to be very
That's a good word.
The people that are standing up and standing and fighting. And that may mean that you open up fucking a smoothie shop.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But make it the best smoothie shop in the town. Like, don't settle for mediocre. Go all in on anything and everything. And how you live your life in one facet should mean that you live it like that forever. You can't just turn up and off. You gotta carry it all the way through, So I think we're broken. I think that, the society that we live in where everyone thinks it's easy. Society, it's the glam, TikTok and 15-second videos of, you were 18 and now you're 28 and now you're a multi-millionaire, without actually
overnight.
Without actually understanding how long it's going to be and the fights that you're going to have, and the anxiety, the stress, the worry, the depression, the kind of lack of friendships, the lack of connections. I think we're way overestimating what it takes, and it's leading to a decline in society. I truly believe.
Yeah. What's really interesting is I think there's a lot of truth to what you just said, a tremendous amount of truth. And it's a tremendous amount of truth that most people don't want to hear because they are living in a comfy zone. But then they'll turn right around to another friend and say, well, I wish I had this, or I wish I could do this, or I wish I could go here, or I wish I had this life. In fact, recently, I'll share with you recently, a little bit transparently, vulnerably, a few people close to me came to me and said, hey, your standards are way too high. No one can standards. And I'm like, I've actually seen these standards. Some of them I've achieved myself. Yeah. So I don't feel the need to settle. And when I push back on this aspect, it was like, I won't speak for them, but in many respects, it was almost like they said, well, those standards are too high for me. Yep. Right. I can't maintain this. And what they don't realize, and this is where my belief in them goes a long way, is one of my struggles as an entrepreneur, business owner, just a person in general, like who loves people in general, right? Who genuinely wants to help them win, genuinely wants to see them succeed, genuinely wants to help them navigate this life and business as best I possibly can. Okay. So there's a sincerity behind everything that I do and everything that I say. But when they said that, I was like, you are shortcutting yourself. You're shortcutting your potential. You're shortcutting your dream. It's going to take you 10 times longer to get, say you want to get to, because you won't step on the gas pedal, because you won't take the chance. You won't commit. How much of success is dictated by level of commitment? And how do we raise the standard? How do we define a raised standard? Do we do it in increments? Do we set up big leaps? How do we do it?
Oh, Jesus, it's a loaded question. I think everyone has to have their own internal driver. I think the best entrepreneurs that I've ever met, and the best people that I look to, have been built off pain, anger, frustration, and disappointment, and lack of, love and that they probably felt in their life. I know that's the energy, the negative energy that I talk and live off. I follow a great man called Annie Frisbell. I don't know if you know who that man is, but
yeah, he's been on my stage before. Yeah,
there you go, perfect. He's probably the number one guy for me in this entrepreneur space. So, he talks a lot about the negative energies and the negative places that you got to pull from. So, do you know what, though, Stephen? We're never going to make people what they're not wanting to make themselves.
Ooh, yeah.
And I've given up on that journey. I've given up trying. I know you're far more experienced than I, and you've lived a far bigger life than I. But myself, I'm 31 years of age, who've kind of achieved everything I wanted to do before 30. I can't make you do what you don't want to do, and I can't make you work at something that you don't really believe in your heart. So
Yeah.
I only work with people I want to, really take it on and really grow, because I always tell people, if I care more than you, then it don't work.
Mm-hmm.
Because all
Yeah.
that happened, even, and all that you said right there is,
Yeah.
I get hurt and I get disappointed.
Yeah.
And I
All the
feel
time.
like me. Yeah, that's what you said without saying it. And I can read it off you. You
Yeah.
said, I get hurt because I get disappointed, and then I demand more out of people, which is starting to disrupt the relationship.
Yeah.
You are made out to be the bad guy when all you're trying to do is level up that person. Don't worry.
That's very true. Yeah.
I'll tell you the story then, if I can. So I have two great brothers. I have a twin, and I have an older brother who lives in the crazy world of Canada. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a wild place over the last 4 years. It's gone absolutely bonkers over there. Now, he's seen, the business grow and scale, and, my twin started working with me just coming up in about 9 months. The older brother is wanting to come in and work with us as well, which is absolutely brilliant. It was always my life dream. But I told him, day dot, I said, you got to get your body weight to this level. You got to train every day. You got to build on your education, and you got to turn up and you got to put it in. You got to stop drinking. You got to do all of this stuff in
Yeah.
order for me to engage. And I truly believe, Stephen, if I said that to him 5 years ago, we would have fallen out. Falling out would mean we would have, dissolved the relationship. It would have broke our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But he was ready at this age in his life. He was ready to do what is needed at this space in his life. And what I mean by all that is, you can only lead if people want you to lead, and you can only do what people want you to do. But people have to come to that idea first. And then it's a case of, how do I amplify it? 5 years ago, if I said that to my brother, he would have said, am I not good enough right now? Who are you to tell me that? Why should I have to toe the line that way? I just want to make money, A, B, and C. Whereas now he understands it as a holistic approach, meaning you have a tag. The tag is my business. The business is representing excellence, certainty, and conviction, and we're building legacy. In order to be able to have people to look to you and to be inspired by you, they need to be inspired by every aspect, not just your skill set, not just how you carry yourself, but most importantly, how you look and how you present yourself. I said, that is the image. If you don't want that, then that's perfectly fine. So what I mean by all that is, you have to meet people where they're at, and you have to meet people where they're on the way up. That's the key.
Yeah. And which is so hard to do, especially when you see so much potential in somebody. I tell entrepreneurs that, they say in this basically national statistics that, businesses fail because they're undercapitalized. They don't have a great plan. They don't do enough analysis to figure out their product, good, or service is even worthy of the marketplace. And at the end of the day, I got to thinking about all the things that held me back or caused me to stumble, or were roadblocks, frustrations, anger, things of that nature that you kind of mentioned already. And at the end of the day, it really only comes down to a handful of things, and they're actually emotional triggers and traits rather than behaviors and results, because the emotional triggers and traits control the behaviors, then control the results, right? And the number one that I see more than anything else, I've been saying this recently just because it's so profound to me, is I don't know a single entrepreneur, business owner who doesn't think who's further along than they are currently. Not one. It doesn't matter if you just had a $4 million a month. You're like, I should be doing 8. I should be doing 16. I should be doing 20. And one of the things that comes up in my mind is one of these subconscious emotional trigger is impatience. There's an impatience process that causes you to want to shortcut the process in thinking that you can get further faster rather than actually following the proven process.
Yeah.
How has impatience maybe played a role in your business and maybe the people you're working with?
Well, firstly, I've lived my entire life like this. It's an imposter syndrome. I've never truly been happy with anything. I remember, sitting on the 6th of May 2022, over the next 4 months, Steve and I made over $1 million in the first 4 months of business. Build cash that night. One day. surprised of the click funnels and all of that, which is, and in my head, I was like, I should have done two. Dropped the ball. There was more there that we could have helped. There was more people that we could have developed. So it's never enough. I always tell people there's two things. It's never enough and it never is enough.
Yeah.
How sad is that? And that's pretty much every entrepreneur that you'll ever meet in their life. You know, when you make like more than enough for this lifetime, but you keep going and keep going and you keep going.
Yeah.
Has to come from insecurity. That has to come from pain. You know, so it's very, very hard, unfortunately. It's very, very hard to, pat yourself on the back when you believe that you should be way further ahead. When you actually find out how to do that, please do let me know, because I'm going to be your first guy that you're going to help do that, because that's something that I never felt is that peace from anything. So,
well, I can share this with you. So my audience knows I exited a business I built over 25 years ago last year. Awesome. December 20th, exited from the trash piles of a construction site, from homeless background, the whole deal. My audience knows all this. And one of the things that happened immediately following the exit over the next 6 or 8 months is I did what most entrepreneurs do when they exit, okay, which is they have a bit of an entrepreneurial hangover. Even though I had things in my mind and my heart that I was lining up to this thing. And I learned that the first 25 years of my business, the first decade of me building the first business was all about, honestly, me meeting my own expectations, my own standards, whatever that was, revenue, house, car, whatever, people, relationships, so on and so forth. As I began to transition away from the business and exit that company, the new thing that I wanted to do had to be focused on two things. First of all, it had to be something I love doing, number one. Number two, it had to be something I love doing with people that I love, if that makes sense. Or doing people, you know what I'm saying? Like really, like I had to have two loves merged together. I had to love the people and I had to love the mission. And it took me 10 or 11 months to really kind of fall back into that. And ironically, the way I got there was the same way you would get to the bottom of a cell, which is I had to go and sit in my own funk, if you will, and say, Stephen, what unique expertise, what unique skill you have that the world can actually use and need, right? And when I sat there, I actually began to have a passion and an awakening of sorts for the people that need to be served. I'll give you an example. In the first 5 years, 8 out of 10 businesses fail. Okay. Now, I would say that there's typically a handful of reasons why businesses fail. I've already mentioned one of them. Impatience is one, arrogance is one, insecurity is one, fear is one. Ignorance is another. Ignorance is almost taking me out 2 or 3 times. That's basically having information that I could use to build a company and choosing not to like pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And when I look at those different categories, inevitably what happens is I discover that I'm actually ready to serve the person I used to be, right? I'm ready to go in and like Stephen at $10 million, Stephen at $5 million, Stephen at $1,000, and like go back and help those entrepreneurs, because my big dream now is to help entrepreneurs, and specifically, I want to cut business failures in half. And I also want to do cutting failures, because as an entrepreneur, something you're constantly navigating is healthy relationships in your home.
Yep.
Constantly, because in theory, you technically have 2 spouses because they require all of your attention in many respects, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, that next level is how can I be of most service? And then it gets really fun. But I think every entrepreneur has to go through the journey, like what you just mentioned, of just uncover what the thing is that's going to get them to the thing they get to. I told my son this one time. I said, son, you got to do the things that you must do until you get to do the things you want to do. You know, how does that play into your business?
Well, you first have to lead. I always tell people, like, if I don't do it, then I can't ask you to do it. So I would cold call, knock at the doors, I'd fucking, chase people up. I would send voice messages. I would do the DMs. I would jump on the sales calls. I would do everything. Because I come from military. So in military, you're told what to do. Mm-hmm. Rather than shown what to do.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
So I want to show, because if I show, then they respect. And if they respect, then they follow. And if they follow, I lead. And if I lead. So that's always been my motto when I think.
Yeah.
Never be tell you what to do. I'll show you what to do. Even when I play high-level sports, I would always take on the responsibility to win.
Yeah.
And
Lead by
so,
example.
yeah, that's always been the case. Even with my brothers, you know, I've always led,
Yeah.
unfortunately, even my own brother, you know, so it's just ingrained in me, unfortunately. There's no escaping it.
Yeah, man, that's so good. Well, before we jump into the last question, I want to bring awareness to our audience that you actually created a special gift for those guys on how to increase your sales by overcoming objections. What was the heart behind creating this resource for everybody to take advantage of?
Um, well, the school community that Sam Ovens owns, that Alex Hermosi, that's what we built it on. Fully transparent in the market of internet world that we live in today, Stephen. The no like and trust factor most businesses, companies operate on, and the market operates on is so fucking low and so minimized that it's hard to pierce the market. So my whole philosophy around building the businesses and marketing it is fundamentally about here it is. There's no hidden agenda. There's no bullshit. If you want to know what the investment is before having a phone call, I will tell you. Not to you. Put barriers up and put walls up. It's there for you. So I give away, 20, 30. I did a 3-day event last week, where we give away all our new stuff that I built and give it away because I'd rather you know, because I'm here for the next 20 years even. So I'm building reciprocity in the market is my philosophy right now. And the money and, taking care of all my loved ones is a byproduct of the reciprocity that the market gives me. So one of the whole ideas is to give it away. Yes, of course, we can't give away the implementation, but you can give away the education. The education is words on a document without actually knowing how to use it. You don't know what you're doing. So I give most of it away, but I also want people to win. I think most people, want to take from before you give. I read a great book 10, 12 years ago, Jab, Jab, Left Hook by Gary Vee.
Yep.
I truly believe now, Stephen, that the market is jab, 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 jab. And then you swap hands and then you jab, 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 jab. And then you swap back and then you jab, 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 jab. And then you jab. So there's a level of giving that you have to give now to be able to earn the trust, the loyalty, and the respect from people so hard. So I just give it away mostly, on my YouTubes and Instagram, Facebook groups. That school group, I just give it away because I want people to know. I want people to make money. We're very fortunate enough to make good money, take care of my family, build their future. Why wouldn't I not want that for him?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because it's so true. That's what we do. Why we do what we do. Once you've gone through the fire of refinement and you come out the other side and you've managed to kind of like become someone new, and you now have this new. I want everybody to experience the same joy and comes with that exciting. As we wrap the show with this last question, I wanted to pick your brain from a place of the one concept or the one question that's been on your heart that you have yet to be asked, but at the same time, needs to be asked. So if I was going to ask you what the one thing you feel like the world needs to hear that have not heard yet, that only you can share, what would it be?
I think the biggest thing that most people need to know, want to know from every entrepreneur is why do it? Why lead? When you've done what you said you were going to do, why keep going back? Yeah. The biggest thing for me is I got 2 beautiful girls, a 4-year-old. My whole philosophy is, to lead my family's next generation to a place that we never thought we could achieve. So I'll always go with the family. My family are like everything, and that's my young kids and my partners, and, often my brothers and their partners, and my entire family. What that ultimately changes the whole game. And the Bible talks about be the one and my family. So what I want my nieces and nephews and kids to have, we're not going to be, shop owners. We're not going to be electricians. We're not going to be plumbers. We're not going to be builders. What we are going to be now, entrepreneurs. We're going to be CEOs, doctors. We're going to be lawyers. And we're going to need people are going to look to us for inspiration. They're going to look for us and somebody to fall behind. So the big thing for me is to be able to do that and to be able to show that it's made for more. So my family name and then it alters based on the actions and the decisions and the work rate that I give to it. That's my big way. That's the game.
Man, that's so good. It's funny. I had a similar passion. My father told me when his business failed, this is 30 years ago. He said, Scoggins don't get ahead, they get by. And I made a conscious decision not to make that my last name would be held in high regard and high esteem out of character and integrity, because I would do the hard work and I would do it the right way. I wouldn't skip the steps. And it's so good to hear someone else that's like in that generation, because, you know, my first mentor that changed the game for me a long time ago, he said, a life will be only worth living if you can create a legacy that outlives you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's the game. I chase and legacy is what I do. And that's what I'm doing. You know, the big goal then on top of that is, you know, I want thousands of people to be in a stadium, and I want to walk on the stage with my two girls, and I want my little girls to look around, and I want them to be somewhat scared with the amount of people that are in that room looking at them. And I want my ladies to know, like the parents, to know that their daddy is helping these families create financial freedom, so they don't put themselves in a position where they potentially can break up, or the family gets dissolved because of financial difficulty. You and I both know that the biggest breakdown in marriages, the biggest breakdown in relationships, good families, good homes, good nucleus, is financial stress and financial problems. If I can solve that for all these people, that's legacy. That's the goal. That's the passion. That's what I'm after.
Right. Oh, thank you so much for coming on the show, dude. Have to come back, and I don't think you're too far away from stepping on that stage. You just stay with it. It's going to happen.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, take it easy. See you, buddy. I hope you liked that video. And if you did, make sure you check out this next video right here.
Those who are looking for help, find it. Those who are looking for positive, find it. It's also true. Those who are looking for negative, find it. Those who are looking for betrayal, find it. Those who are looking for liars, find it. You'll find what you look for. Why?